Before we dive into today's episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to stay updated with our latest insights.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CTSS Academy podcast. The energy is electric. The crowd is alive. Let's dive into greatness. We're champions strong.
Before we start the show, don't forget to check our new ebook, Kill All Bugs, Learn Software Testing in One Day. For a limited time, it's only $9.99. Links in description.
Okay, let's unpack this. We are jumping right into a story of principle versus, well, immense global power. This is our deep dive into Telegram, a platform that just defied governmental control, navigated bans in its own home country, and somehow grew into this global communication behemoth.
It's staggering. We're talking well over 1 billion users worldwide.
1 billion. It's hard to even get your head around that.
And the person right at the epicenter of all of this is Pavel Durov, a man once called Russia's Zuckerberg. But this, it isn't just another tech success story. It's really a profound study in conviction.
Right.
Durov consistently chose this one uncompromising principle: digital freedom and privacy over political ease, over comfort, over everything else, really.
That one choice, it pretty much defined the last decade of his life. And, it fueled the explosive growth of Telegram. It's about the power of conviction in our digital age.
It absolutely is.
And our mission today is to figure out how that defiance actually worked. We've got a great stack of sources detailing his personal journey, the philosophical architecture he built Telegram on, its major challenges.
And there were a lot of those.
Oh, yeah. From the heavy hand of Russia to the regulatory hammer of the US SEC. And what's really interesting, the most recent and kind of surprising success of its financial model. We're going to distill all the key moments that brought him here.
Okay, so where do we start?
I think we have to start at the very beginning. The origin story really explains the rigid foundation of his later convictions.
I agree.
Durov was born in Leningrad in 1984. His father was a distinguished academic, and he actually spent part of his childhood in Turin, in Italy.
Yeah.
He ended up studying linguistics at St. Petersburg State University.
And that background is so essential. That mix of, academic rigor, that international exposure, and an obsession with language. It's the perfect setup. While he was studying the structure of human language, he was also developing this powerful affinity for coding and, maybe more importantly, for the idea of doing the undone.
Finding solutions no one else had dared to try.
Exactly. And that ambition, it manifested really quickly. In 2006, he and his brother Nikolai, who was the real technical genius behind it all, they launched vKontakte, or VK.
And it just exploded. It became Russia's most popular social network, basically their version of Facebook. It just dominated the market.
What's so fascinating here, though, is that even when VK was at its peak, Durov already had this uncompromising philosophy. You could almost summarize it as the product comes first, the authorities come later.
Right. He believed the value you provide the user was totally sacrosanct. You just don't leverage that for political ends.
Which means he essentially built a massive target on his back from day one.
And that philosophy was put to the ultimate high-stakes test between 2013 and 2014.
As political tensions in Russia really started to heat up.
The pressure on VK became immense. The sources detail these specific demands from Russian authorities for two things. First, extensive user data, and second, info on opposition pages using the network to organize.
And his response, it wasn't just a polite no, it was a public act of defiance. He famously posted this picture of 2 dogs in hoodies.
A nod to anonymity, right?
Exactly. And he publicly stated that Russian jurisdiction didn't apply to Ukrainian users whose data the state was demanding. This was not a negotiation. It was a declaration of war based on principle.
A declaration that had immediate and very harsh consequences.
He learned he was dismissed in April 2014.
And how did he find out?
He read about it in the press.
Wow, not even a phone call.
Nope. He walked away from the company he created, a network worth billions that he had to sell under duress, and he left Russia completely. Just think about that choice for a second.
That's hard to imagine.
He forfeited a lifetime of comfortable success, of security, taking with him only a handful of developers, his principles, and the raw idea for his next project.
Telegram. So what does this all mean for us?
It means that breaking point proved his core belief was genuine. Power is not in the chair, but in the principles. He showed he was willing to lose everything material just to protect this abstract idea.
That context is crucial for understanding everything that came next. It really shifts the narrative from a business story to, like, a digital political manifesto.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that manifesto, forged in the fire of the VK breakup, became the blueprint for Telegram, which technically launched in 2013, even before he left Russia.
Right.
And the sources show that Telegram was architected from the ground up on a three-pronged manifesto. Speed, simplicity, and, most critically, privacy or secrecy.
The source material uses the Turkish word gizlilik for that, right? For this dedication to absolute secrecy.
It does.
So let's unpack that third pillar, gizlilik. What does that mean in practical terms? Is it all end-to-end encrypted by default, like some other apps?
See, that's where the nuance is, and it's a really important distinction. While Telegram offers world-class end-to-end encryption in what they call secret chats,
Okay.
most standard chats are actually cloud-based. They use a client-server encryption system. So the gizlilik, the secrecy they promise, isn't just about the cryptography, it's infrastructural. It's about resisting coercion by being distributed, fast, and totally independent of any one political entity.
And the result of embedding that philosophy so deeply into the architecture is that Telegram quickly became what the sources call an alternative infrastructure.
It's the go-to platform.
Yeah, it's the thing people turn to during crises, protests, communication outages, because they believe it's built to resist being shut down.
And that resilience was put to the ultimate test in Russia in 2018, the most famous proving ground.
So how did it hold up? We're talking about a massive nationwide blockade attempt.
The sources paint this picture of just total technical chaos on the state side. In their attempt to suppress Telegram, authorities blocked millions of IP addresses.
Not just Telegram's IPs either. They were hitting totally unrelated services, right? Like Google and Amazon Web Services.
Exactly, causing all this collateral damage. But despite blocking millions of addresses, Telegram just kept functioning, almost defiantly.
It's like trying to hit a constantly moving digital amoeba.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
The state was fighting a technical war with political tools, and they lost. And the irony is, even while the government was frantically trying to block the service, some local government institutions reportedly opened official channels on Telegram because it was the only reliable way they could communicate with people.
That is the ultimate catch-22.
It truly is.
Yeah.
And so what here is critical. The ban was officially lifted in 2020. That was a global precedent. It showed that a resilient, decentralized system could successfully resist and even force a powerful state to just give up.
And these conflicts, ironically, they forced the product to get even sharper. They developed the channels feature, which turned users into broadcasters, giving massive publishing power to communities.
Which brings us right into the ethical and political debates that always follow success like this. Because Telegram established itself as this essential infrastructure for news and organization, especially for opposition movements, it naturally became a lightning rod. Its growth triggered these intense global discussions about its public role, concerning surveillance, security, and the problem of propaganda and extremism circulating freely on the platform.
That is the core tension, isn't it? When you build a true fortress of freedom, you're also, by definition, creating a space for activity that many societies would call harmful or abusive.
Exactly. And resisting state pressure on one side means you have to resist it on all sides, forcing Durov to navigate this very narrow, very high-wire path.
That high-wire act certainly came with a high price tag. Let's pivot to the financial and legal costs of all this, starting with a huge commercial setback.
Yeah, the blockchain project.
Right. His big vision for the Telegram Open Network, or TON, was completely halted in 2020 after an aggressive legal fight with the US SEC.
And this was a pivotal moment. TON wasn't some small side project. This was supposed to be a next-generation blockchain, a whole decentralized economy built around Telegram.
Funded by a massive offering of its tokengram.
And the SEC just stepped in and said, nope, this is an unregistered security.
Plain and simple.
They argued the tokens were investment contracts, not just utility tokens, and so they were subject to strict U.S. securities laws. The consequences of that legal defeat were just staggering.
He was forced to shelve the entire TON project, return $1.2 billion in investment funds.
$1.2 billion,
Yeah.
with a B.
And on top of that, pay an additional $18.5 million fine. It was a total strategic retreat.
A massive, costly blow.
Which raises an important question. How does a company founded on these anti-regulatory principles even survive a hit like that from one of the world's most powerful regulators?
It forces a choice. You either compromise or you double down on the one thing that still works, the messaging platform. Durov doubled down. But the legal troubles, they didn't end there. They got intensely personal.
We saw that play out very publicly, very dramatically in August 2024. Durov was detained in Paris. He was facing these multi-headed charges linked to the platform's potential misuse. This led to judicial supervision and significant travel restrictions.
And the sources detail how severe that was. Imagine being this nomadic digital founder committed to mobility, and suddenly you can't really travel. He was only partially allowed to leave the country in the spring of 2025, and things didn't really ease up until that summer.
And that 2024 arrest, it just reignited that fundamental debate we were talking about.
It put the tension right on center stage.
Is Telegram a fortress of freedom for dissidents? Or is it, as critics claim, just a ground for abuses?
Durov, of course, publicly denied all the accusations. But the key takeaway from this personal crisis is that despite the constant tug of war, despite the fines, the detention, he did not back down. He did not compromise the app's core philosophy. He endured the stress.
Which is truly astounding, that despite all of that, the legal, political, personal headwinds, the growth just continued to be explosive. In March 2025, Telegram surpassed 1 billion monthly active users.
1 billion. That puts it in such an elite tier of global platforms. And what's fascinating is that the financial picture finally caught up to the user growth.
Which is the crucial point for sustainability, right?
Absolutely. Durov announced that despite years of heavy investment and the high cost of resistance, including that billion-dollar SEC loss, the company was profitable for the first time in 2024.
That changes the whole narrative. It goes from ideological defiance to a viable, powerful, sustainable business model.
We even have some specific numbers. Reported revenues in 2024 hit $1 billion, and cash reserves were way up. Some news reports even cited the 2024 profits in the range of, $540 million.
A $500 million swing into the positive. That's incredible.
And this financial data, I think it's the crucial summary for you, the listener. It suggests that the thesis of remaining ideologically independent and achieving massive scale, it's not just possible, it's demonstrably sustainable. Apparently, there's significant value in selling freedom and trust.
But I have to ask a challenging question here. Now that Telegram is known to be profitable, sitting on all this cash, doesn't that make it an even bigger, more attractive target for regulation?
That is precisely the paradox.
Doesn't financial success raise the stakes for compliance demands everywhere?
It does. While financial health guarantees longevity, it also removes the argument that the company is too small or fragile for heavy regulation. The sources suggest these discussions about platform responsibility are only going to intensify now that Telegram is seen as a financial powerhouse.
So the challenge just shifts.
He's successfully navigated state power and regulatory power. Now he faces the ultimate challenge: sustaining a principle when there's real money on the line.
Absolutely. So the key takeaway from this deep dive into Pavel Durov's story is really what it shows us about the price and the power of clinging to a core idea. It cost him his first company, his comfort, his country, his blockchain vision, and at times, his personal freedom.
Everything.
But he consistently defended the product's philosophy, no matter who it pleased. And its success, its sustainability, that's the direct result of that unwavering, decade-long dedication to a single idea.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the source material offers a great final thought, tying it directly to your own life or work. It suggests that if your core idea adds genuine value like freedom or privacy or trust, the obstacles you face aren't just stress, they actually act as clarifiers. They force you to refine and strengthen what you believe in, and ultimately, they make the idea more resilient.
So we encourage you to think about that. What are the core principles in your own life, in your work, that you are truly unwilling to compromise on, even when the pressure is applied? What are the principles you'd be willing to lose $1 billion or your physical comfort over?
It's a powerful question.
That is what you should mull over.
Hey, yo! Haven't you checked out our new book yet? Link in description.
Thanks for listening. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. It helps more people find the show. See you in the next one.